There was a man who used to wake up strong, not just in body, but in spirit. He didn't need to say much. He just stood there, tall, ready, grounded. But over the years, that feeling slipped. Not all at once, quietly, like a slow dimming of the lights in a room he used to know by heart. He didn't notice the first few times. A morning without energy, a day without desire, a glance from his partner that used to mean something more now returned with a polite smile and nothing else. Then one day, he told me, "Doc, I wake up and nothing's happening down there. It's like my body's forgotten how." He was 66, retired firefighter, built like someone who'd carried other people's pain for decades. But this was different. This was his own. I didn't see a man broken by age. I saw a man who had been misinformed, undernourished, and, perhaps, ignored. Because what no one ever told him, what no one tells most men, is that the most important part of your day for restoring blood flow, hormone balance, and confidence is breakfast. And yet most older men skip it, rush it, or fill it with things that quietly shut their systems down. If that sounds familiar, if your mornings feel more like survival than strength, I want to offer you something simple, something real. I'm Dr. Thomas Leighton. For over 40 years, I've listened to men who carried silent questions behind tired eyes, men who once felt fire in their bellies and strength in their stride, now waking up wondering if they're fading. But here's what I've seen time and again. Your body still remembers how to respond. It still wants to circulate blood. It still wants to feel, to perform, to be alive. You just have to feed it what it's starving for. And sometimes that starts with a fork, not a pharmacy. So if this message speaks to you even a little, type 1. If you're unsure, type 0. Either way, thank you for listening. Now, let's begin with the first food. Whole eggs, not just the whites, the whole egg yolk included. We were told for decades to avoid them. Too much cholesterol, they said. But the latest research from places like Harvard, the Mayo Clinic, and countless peer-reviewed studies shows us the opposite. Whole eggs are one of nature's most complete circulation boosters. They're packed with vitamin D, which supports testosterone, choline, which feeds nerve health and mental clarity, B12, which helps your blood carry oxygen more efficiently, and leucine, an amino acid critical for repairing deep pelvic muscles, the very ones that support balance, bladder control, and, yes, erections. Frank, the retired firefighter I mentioned, was living on coffee and toast. His body was running on empty by 8 a.m. I asked him to start small. 2 boiled eggs. Every morning. First thing, no butter, no oil, just the egg. 3 weeks later, he walked in with mist in his eyes. "Doc, I woke up hard. First time in years." He wasn't bragging, he was remembering. Because the body doesn't forget. It waits. And when you finally give it what it's been missing, it answers. That's what breakfast can do when you stop treating it like an afterthought and start seeing it as a message to your body. It's time to wake up. Time to rebuild. And it doesn't stop with eggs. Let me take you to another story. Henry, 71, retired, kind eyes, but heavy legs. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I'm fading. I don't know how to stop it." He wasn't sick. He just wasn't eating to live. His breakfast? Processed cereal, sometimes a muffin. Whatever was fast. I offered him something just as fast, but 10 times more powerful. Oats with chia seeds. Not trendy, not flashy, but quietly effective. Oats contain beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that acts like a sponge in your arteries, soaking up cholesterol and scrubbing the inside walls clean. Cleaner arteries equals better circulation, especially down there. Now, when you add chia seeds loaded with omega-3s, magnesium, potassium, you unlock blood vessels. You reduce inflammation. You give your body the tools to carry blood where it belongs. Freely, fully, and without strain. I told Henry to try 1 bowl a day. Oats, a tablespoon of chia seeds, cinnamon for taste, blueberries for antioxidants. 2 weeks later, he called me. "Doc," he said, "I don't know if it's the oats or what, but I feel lighter, not just in my legs, even down there." That's when I smiled. Because when the blood starts flowing again, when the arteries start opening up, the whole body starts to come back online. And most importantly, so does the man. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Eggs? Oats? Really? Yes. Because real food sends a signal that nothing else can. You're not just feeding your stomach. You're waking up your nervous system. You're inviting your hormones back into balance. You're saying, I'm not done yet. If you've been feeling slow, numb, unmotivated, if your mornings feel more like something to get through than a place to begin, start here. With food, your body understands. Food that doesn't need a label. Food that has walked alongside men for generations, quietly rebuilding their strength one bite at a time. In part 2, I want to show you 2 more morning foods, one sweet, one grounding, both of which can shift your circulation faster than you think. One of them has been compared to nature's version of Viagra. The other, a warm root that can stabilize your blood pressure, refuel your legs, and give you something far more precious than performance. Stability. Stick with me. You won't want to miss this. There's something about the way fruit tastes on a summer morning that reminds you you're still alive. The crisp sweetness, the cool juice, it wakes something up inside. That's exactly what I told Bill, a 69-year-old patient who had been feeling flat for months, not sad, just dulled, like someone had dimmed the volume on his body. Doc, he chuckled, I thought you were going to give me some serious advice. Not tell me to eat watermelon like I'm 12 again. I smiled, because what he didn't know is that watermelon, humble red juicy watermelon, holds one of the most powerful secrets for circulation that nature's ever made. Inside every slice is an amino acid called L-citrulline. Once it's in your system, it turns into L-arginine, which then triggers a gas called nitric oxide. That's the key. Nitric oxide tells your blood vessels to open up. It relaxes the walls. It allows blood to flow not forcefully, but freely. That's the very same pathway used by common ED medications. But here's the difference. Watermelon doesn't hijack your system. It supports it. No side effects, no dependence, just real blood flow, supported naturally. I told Bill to eat a few slices first thing in the morning before anything else. Not just the red flesh either. The white part, the rind, that's where the L-citrulline is most concentrated. You don't have to chew it like candy. Just blend it into a smoothie. Or eat it slowly, with respect for what it's doing. 2 weeks later, Bill came back. I don't know if it's the watermelon or the fact that I'm finally eating breakfast, he said, but something's definitely waking up. That disbelief, that cautious hope, I've heard it before. And every time, it reminds me of this truth. When you give your body what it's been missing, it remembers. The blood starts moving again. The groin, once numb or cold, begins to tingle with warmth. And that quiet voice inside the one that says, maybe I'm not finished, gets a little louder. But even as good as watermelon is, it's only part of the picture. Because it's not just about energy. It's not even just about blood flow. It's about stability. The kind of grounded, reliable strength you can feel in your legs, your back, and your chest as you rise in the morning. And for that, there's one more food I recommend again and again, steamed sweet potato with Celtic sea salt. Not a fad, not a trend, just real, earthy nourishment. The kind that says to your body, let's begin this day with something solid. I told a man named Thomas, 70 years old, still sharp, still proud to try it. He'd been waking up with heaviness in his legs, a dull ache in the groin, a limp that wasn't from injury, but depletion. He told me, Doc, I get out of bed and I have to lean on the dresser just to get going. He was starting each day on empty. I asked him to try something different. Half a steamed sweet potato. Sprinkle it with a pinch of Celtic sea salt, not table salt, not refined sodium, but real mineral-rich salt, unprocessed, with over 80 trace minerals your body needs to regulate blood pressure, nerve signals, and hydration. That's it. No sugar, no butter, no oil. Just the root and the salt. He did. And just 3 days later, he said this, Doc, I got out of bed this morning without grabbing anything. That's what real nourishment does. It doesn't spike your energy and crash it later. It fuels you quietly, evenly, and deeply, especially where your body is most vulnerable. Sweet potatoes are full of complex carbohydrates. They feed your muscles without throwing off your blood sugar. They support your legs, your back, your pelvic floor. When paired with Celtic salt, they help restore electrolyte balance, something most older men lack, especially after years of processed food, medication, or coffee-heavy mornings. So when Thomas felt steadier, it wasn't magic. It was biology finally supported. And I'll tell you something else I've come to believe. After 60, stability becomes the real superpower. You don't need to bench press your old personal best. You need to stand with confidence, to walk without wobble, to feel your groin and hips support you, not betray you. This breakfast does that, not by overwhelming your system, but by meeting it where it is and giving it what it's quietly been asking for. Here's the beautiful thing. Every one of these foods, eggs, oats with chia, watermelon, and sweet potato with sea salt, can be made in under 10 minutes. They're inexpensive. They're familiar. They don't require perfection, just consistency. And they each feed a different piece of your system. Eggs rebuild muscle and hormone balance. Oats and chia cleanse the arteries. Watermelon opens blood vessels. Sweet potatoes with salt restore nerve and mineral function. They work together. They build on each other. And they do so gently, without overwhelming you. But none of it matters. None of it unless you act on it. That's what I want to talk to you about next. Because the difference between the men who hope they'll get better and the men who do comes down to a decision. Not next week, not when you feel more ready, but tomorrow morning. Let me show you how to begin. There's something I want you to hear, something no one told the men who came before us. You don't lose your strength with age. You lose it through neglect, through silence, through the small ways we stop showing up for ourselves. And the most common place where that neglect begins? Breakfast. That first hour of the day when your body is waking, your blood is shifting, your nervous system is searching for rhythm, is when most men give themselves the least. A piece of toast, a strong cup of coffee, sometimes nothing at all. Then they wonder why their legs feel heavy, why their groin feels numb, why they move through the day disconnected from their own body. I've sat with hundreds of men like this. Not weak, not lazy, just forgotten. By the system, by their doctors, sometimes even by themselves. But here's what I remind them, and now I remind you. It is not too late. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be young again. You simply need to give your body one clear message in the morning. I still care. I'm still here. And that message doesn't come from motivation. It comes from nourishment. You now know 4 foods that can change the way blood moves through your body. Whole eggs to restore testosterone and rebuild the deep pelvic muscles. Oats with chia seeds to scrub your arteries and reduce inflammation. Watermelon to unlock nitric oxide and boost blood flow where you need it most. Sweet potatoes with Celtic salt to stabilize your minerals, balance your nerves, and steady your energy. Each one a quiet medicine. Each one a signal to your body. You're safe, you're fed, you can perform again. But none of it matters, none of it, unless you take that first step. So I want to offer you something simple. Tomorrow morning, just pick one. Don't worry about doing it all. Start with the one that feels doable. Maybe it's 2 soft-boiled eggs with a pinch of sea salt. Maybe it's a bowl of oats topped with chia seeds and cinnamon. Maybe it's fresh watermelon slices, including the rind, blended in a smoothie. Or maybe it's half a steamed sweet potato with a bit of natural salt and a warm glass of water. You don't need a nutritionist. You don't need a complicated plan. You just need 10 minutes. That's all. Because those 10 minutes are the tuning fork for the rest of your day. They're when your blood vessels are most responsive, when your testosterone is recalibrating, when your nervous system is choosing between fight, flight, or restore. And when you give your body what it needs in that window, real food, steady minerals, calm breath, your entire system shifts into healing mode. You begin to restore what aging only appeared to take. I remember a patient named Carl, 75, quiet man, used to work construction. He came to me hunched, tired, barely making eye contact. I just feel like my body's not mine anymore, he said. We started with one thing, watermelon in the morning, a few slices, nothing else. He didn't expect much, but 3 days later he called and said, "Doc, something's different. I feel warm again, down there. Not dramatic, not theatrical, just real. That's what this is about. Small shifts that bring you back into your body. Because this isn't just about food. It's about remembrance. Remembrance of vitality. Remembrance of presence. Remembrance of being a man who still wakes with energy and purpose. So what happens after that first day? You repeat. You let consistency do the work. You let biology catch up to belief. And after a few mornings of eating with care, you begin to feel less tension in your thighs, more focus in your thoughts, a little more pressure where things had gone quiet, a little less effort in your movement. That's how it begins, not in a transformation, but in a return to strength, a return to trust, a return to you. And once that door opens, even a crack, you start to realize something powerful. You were never broken. You were simply underfed, undermineralized, and undersupported. Your body didn't fail you. It was just waiting for you to feed it the way it's always needed. So, my friend, here's what I hope you do next. Not scroll, not nod and forget, but decide. Decide to care for your mornings again. Decide that tomorrow is worth showing up for, not with guilt, but with presence. Pick one food, prepare it with intention, eat it slowly, and listen, really listen to what your body tells you afterward. And if you notice something shift, a little warmth, a little clarity, a little strength, let that be your proof. That aging is not defeat. It's an invitation to care more deeply. And if this message spoke to you, really spoke to you, maybe share it. Not loudly, not to everyone, but quietly, to someone who might need it. Hey, I've started eating differently in the morning, and it's helping. That's how wisdom spreads, from one man to another, through stories, through truth, through food. Because you are not alone. There are thousands of men just like you waking up in silence, wondering if they're still in the game. Let your answer be, yes, I am, not because of ego, but because of action. Start with breakfast. Let that be the turning point, the vote for your next chapter, the reminder that the man you used to be never left. He's just been waiting for this moment to return. And tomorrow, that moment begins.